All right, everybody, that'll do it for the Seattle Kraken. They fight very hard, they fight very bravely, but they cannot quite get it done and are eliminated in the second round by the Dallas Stars. Goes all 7 games, comes down to a very close and hotly contested game here in Game 7, but not quite enough. The Dallas Stars come away with the win and move on to play the Golden Knights in the Western Conference Finals. So, I want to say, obviously the actual hard hitting analysis of this series is going to be left to other people who are a little more hockey aware than I, who have been watching this game for a long time, which is certainly not like me. But what I can say from my perspective is just somebody who's watching these Kraken games and trying to have a good time, trying to be entertained, trying to understand what makes this sport go. It's it was a really impressive and fun year that the Kraken gave us. 19 win improvement over last year, 40-point improvement over last year. Now, granted, I didn't watch very much of the regular season. I followed it. I was aware of what the team was doing and how the team was doing and all that. I was familiar with the fact they had made big improvements because I was friends with people who talked about it all the time. I was definitely aware of all that. But when the playoffs started, I was like, okay, let's see what's up here. Playoffs are here. If there's ever a time for me to start getting into this, it's now. And I'll tell you, it was fun. I had a good time. I watched most of the Kraken playoff games. There are some things that I continue to struggle with a little bit. It's a very stressful sport. It's a very hectic sport. Feels like things happen so quickly and happen so randomly. It's hard to really follow. But I get it. And watching your team pull off a big upset in the playoffs, beating the defending Stanley Cup champions and then pushing one of the better teams in the league to 7 games. That's going to turn you around a little bit quicker than the average, I think. So I want to say shout out to all players and coaches and managers and everybody there is to talk about on this Kraken team for having this successful of a season in just your second year. Your second year as a franchise, going from one of the worst teams to a playoff team to a team that in the playoffs became a real threat. And don't get me wrong, watching this game, I can definitely see, like even somebody like me watching this game, I did get the sense that we weren't quite up there with them. By which I mean watching this game play out early on, it felt like we were just trying to weather the storm. And honestly, going back to Colorado Game 7, it felt like we were trying to weather the storm in that game too. Just hoping that Group Power could hold up while we would take advantage of the fewer shots we got. I think that in both Game 7s we played, we got significantly fewer shots on goal than the other team. And we were just hoping to weather that because on some level, we're not quite as good as these teams. That's the read that I'm getting from what I saw out there on the ice. There were extended stretches of this game early on where the puck was just basically stuck to our side of the ice. And we were just hoping that they would keep missing or Group Howard would keep saving. And eventually we could break through for a goal at some point, and then somehow that 1 goal or 2 goals we score would be enough to hold on. And watching these games, you do get the sense this team does have a little bit of work to do, but not that much. Not as much work to do as you might have expected for a team that is in their second year, that does have a lot of youth on it, that does have a lot of really young players on it that you've got to figure are going to get better as time goes by. So, looking at it from that perspective, yeah, I get it. We're not as good as some of these really hyper elite teams necessarily. But at the same time, you got to say, here we are. We got to 7 games against 2 teams that were considered to be some of the most dangerous teams in hockey going into the postseason. So therefore, there's something to be said for this unit. And I'm just talking about Game 7. There were many games we played this postseason, like 2 nights ago, where the team was completely up to the task. The team was, they looked better than the other teams. So we're not that far away. We're not that far away, it seems like to me anyway. As near as I can tell, where we've got some stuff to improve on. I think we got to get a little bit better. There are these moments where it just seems like we're just trying to hold serve and hope it works out. And we're just kind of getting punished by a more aggressive team that's just able to keep shooting and shooting and shooting. But that being said, they're right there, man. They're right there. I mean, obviously we would have been underdogs if we had made it to the Golden Knights, but that hasn't meant anything to us so far this postseason. So that kind of just is what it is. So that's what I can take away from this postseason from the Kraken in a general sense. But I do want to sincerely say that I'm very thankful to this team for doing this, because they're kind of starting to win me over, maybe. And I don't mean in terms of, oh, I was rooting for another hockey team. No, I just didn't really get hockey. But I don't know if I'm going to become somebody who watches all the regular season games. I don't know if I'm going to become somebody who's really into watching hockey 3-4 times a week. I don't know if I'm going to be somebody who makes hockey videos every few days or anything like that. But it's got to be said that this Seattle Kraken team is starting to at least win me over enough to where I'm going to keep following the team and I'm going to give them a chance. And at the very least, when the postseason comes around, yeah, I'm going to tune in. I'm going to see what's up. Okay, so that's really all I can say about this one. Great season for the Kraken. Overachieved, defeated all expectations. It's unfortunate to get so close to the Western Conference Finals and not get there, because obviously, no matter what else I can say about it, like I can talk about how the Kraken the Stars just looked a little bit faster, more aggressive, and just generally a little bit better than we did throughout this series, even when we were winning. But we were right there. We lost by 1 goal in Game 7, and I know the last goal came with like 19 seconds left, so it's kind of weird. It's kind of a whatever thing, but still, we were right there. It was a very competitive game. This wasn't one of those games where Grubauer gets pulled midway through the second because he's given up 4 goals in the first half an hour. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll leave the off-season moves this team needs to make to other people, and I'll just say that this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed watching this postseason, and next season rolls around, I might pay just a little bit more attention to this team and see where they're going, because they're clearly, I think pretty clearly, for the foreseeable future, going to give us something to root for, because this team is young, by and large. This team has a lot of younger players. I don't see any reason why they should be a one-hit wonder. I don't see any reason why they should just fall off a cliff next year. So, hey, if the objective for the Kraken this year was to win me over, then they did that. Of course, their actual goal was to win the Cup. They didn't accomplish that, but they made serious strides, had a really good season, really fun, and I want to see what they do next. So, yeah. So, that's really all I can say, guys. I don't have a ton to say about hockey. I still don't totally understand what's going on out there half the time. The game is still a little too frenetic for me to really keep up with what's going on at times. So I can only say so much. But this team is clearly headed in the right direction, and I appreciate that. Shout out to the Seattle Kraken. Great job. See you next year. And you're making a fan out of me, I guess. All right, see you guys on Twitch in the very near future here.